I don't even know.
How are you feeling, Laura?
I'm very shook. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain what just happened. Like, I'm just baffled.
Well, I think we all have to be cognizant of the fact that tomorrow night we're celebrating Halloween, and if we can believe anything about Halloween, it is that spooky and strange things happen. I did say at the beginning when Laura asked me what do I do, and I gave a bit of a description, but I also said I collect stories, which I genuinely do, and I love horror stories and I love spooky stories. And the first story I want to talk about tonight has a bit of a sinister twist to it, and it's something I'd like to do with Jazz, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
So Jazz, I'm going to give you this little pouch. Laura seems very relieved.
I'm absolutely fine with that. All the sinister stuff over that side. Yeah, that's fine.
Now, Laura, obviously I know you're behind TV cameras or whatever, and you might be able to see everything, but essentially, just for the listeners at home, what I've got is I've got a blackboard here on the table, and we're going to call them cards, although they're not really cards, and we'll discover what they are later on. There's 5 cards on the blackboard, and I've just given you something, Jazz. It's like a pouch, is it? What's it say in the pouch?
On the pouch it says Holy Sins.
Holy Sins, okay. Well, just open that up, please, Jazz.
I suddenly feel very cold.
Well, that's not uncommon, because whenever I do this, people genuinely do feel a sense of, well, some people call it all sorts of things like dread and cold and anticipation. I would just say be excited and let's just see. But Jazz, it is important. Just look at me for a moment.
Yeah.
I genuinely want you to follow my instructions and do whatever you feel is right. You don't do whatever I tell you. You do what you feel is right.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what have you got inside for the listeners?
Am I okay taking
it's
this
not
out?
for the listeners. Yeah, take it out. Well, it's not for the listeners.
It's a chain. It's a necklace chain with a locket on it.
Now,
yeah.
So, Jazz, what I'd ask you to do, please, is we'll refer to them as cards, but as I said already, they're not cards. Jazz, I would like you to place that locket across any 3 of these cards that you wish. Just place it across any 3. Don't think too much about it. It has to be kind of intuitive.
Right. I'm putting it across.
Okay, those 3. All right, no problem. So we're going to lift these up, and I know this has been recorded, so we'll take these out of the way. Now, Jazz, what I'd ask you to do, please, take the locket up and just put it on the back of 1 for me, please.
All right.
Again, don't think, just as all intuitive. All right. Now, when you put that down, I would say to you, it wasn't done in an aggressive fashion, but it was done very deliberate. Did you feel that this is the one you wanted to place it down on?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to put on that one, yeah.
It's interesting. So did you, just before we go on, did it feel right, or what did it feel?
It just felt like it was in the right position for me, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, I can tell the listeners at home, and I can tell everybody here, that they aren't cards, although they look like cards, but what they are, they're actually genuine photographs of ladies. And these ladies, it was actually a terrible crime, a crime spree back in 1898 all over England, and it became known as the Locket Murders. Because what was happening was there was the police presumed it was a lady. I'll tell you why later, but she was killing men at random. But she had a very kind of a sinister trademark. When she had them mutilated, she would leave a locket by their body. So all these men would be unfortunately killed, in some cases decapitated, and a locket would be left beside their body. Now this lady here that you could have chosen, you didn't, it was named Wilma Robinson. Okay?
Yeah.
This lady was Rachel Adams. This was Deborah Farrell. She came over from Ireland. And this lady here was Winifred Thompson. And you might notice, Jazz, and you can tell the listeners at home, they've all got one thing in common. And that is they're all wearing
the locket.
Lockets, yeah. So the police arrested them on suspicion of murder, and they all spent a bit of time in jail. But it since transpired that they were innocent, and then they were subsequently released. But the person who actually had been, by the way, let's just watch what I'm doing, just moving the locket out of the way. The person who was eventually discovered as the murderer was a Francis McGinley. Now, Francis was an extremely sinister individual who really and truly seemed to get great pleasure out of mutilating the bodies of men. I can tell you she was convicted and she was hanged. And back then there was no DNA, but all I can tell you, Jazz, is this, that you chose the right person. She definitely murdered all those victims. There was no DNA at the time, but you left the locket there, and she, of course, left the locket beside the body. But this time was a little bit different, because Francis made a big mistake. Because the locket Francis left beside the body, and Jazz, I don't know, can you possibly open that and see how the police were so sure it was her? You're looking a little bit intrepid, but it's okay. Remember, you could have chosen any one of them. What is it?
That's the picture of her inside it.
So tell the listeners, it's what?
It's the picture inside the locket matches the picture that I put the locket on.
So that's
What the hell?
you're holding in your hands Frances Locket. Yeah, she was a very depraved individual who, essentially, she, as I say, she was killed when she was locked up. But you could have chosen any one of them. But you told me at the time you felt right about that.
I guess I should be a detective.
Yeah, and I think you still feel a little bit on the cold side.
I do feel very cold.
She was a very cold individual.
Don't tell me I'm related to her or something.
Well, you're actually holding in your hand, but she made such a mistake that it was actually transpired she left the locket beside the body, and inside was her photograph. Very interesting story.
Oh my God, I feel really cold in my knees especially.